So today I'm going to tell you a bit about my Talk app. It used to be called Talk Pro, now they've changed it to just Talk. It monitors engine, transmission, all the computer data in the vehicle. So, well, I normally have it plugged in on ignition. I just bought a cheap phone, Samsung, as you can see here, and I've put the app, basically it's only got this app on it, that's all it does. I think it's a lot more expensive. I only paid like 20 bucks for the app back in the day, so I think it's a lot dearer now. You can see I've got set up on different screens, as many things as you want. Anything down there? Nothing on that screen. You can just have multiple screens, and the more things you have, the slower it is because it's got a lot of data to process. But it's connected via Bluetooth to my OBD2 port down there. I'll show you the little gadgets down there a bit later. So on this one here, we start on this side at the top right. That's vacuum. When you're not accelerating, when you're accelerating it goes to boost, so it reads boost. Next one over, coolant. That's the engine coolant temperature. Next one is the transmission torque converter temperature. And the last one at the top is the transmission pan temperature. And they change quite a bit. On the bottom we have the DPF percentage. That'll show you what percentage you're up to. At 100% it does a burn or a regeneration. I've got 3 exhaust EGT temperatures. I think one is EGT, you can see S1, S2, S3. I think one's before the DPF and 3's after it. I'm not sure where the middle one actually is in relation to the DPF. I think it might be after, but I'm not sure. You can have various different displays. There's a whole heap of them. You can have them in different sizes depending on how many you want on the screen. Display configuration. You can set warnings. You can have audible warnings or visual warnings. I have both. Sometimes they flash. The display flashes and a buzzer goes off when it gets above whatever you want to set it for. Change site. I've got a couple of things there. The burn ones are quite a good one. That's the DPF regeneration. I can hit that and do a burn whenever I want to, basically. And there's heaps of things to choose from. We can try, if we go down here, I'll try add a new one. Add display. I probably need the engine going, but you can, okay, so there's lots of options for the different types of displays. You have dials and digital, bars, graphs. I've got the digital display there, that one. Acceleration widget, compass, heaps of different options. Whoop. You can move them around and see if I can get rid of it. Oh, wait. Which one would you like? We'll try just a dial. And then you scroll down here to add the sensors. Usually the ones that are applicable are green, that suit the car, but I don't have the engine on at the moment, so acceleration figures, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Battery level, barometric pressure, CO2, distance to empty. That takes a bit of setting up. Haven't worked that out yet, but I'll get around to that. Engine load, engine revs, The GTs, sensor 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Fuel flow, pressures. Pretty much all the green ones here, you can display them all at once if you want to, but there's a lot of things to have showing up. Levers, O2 sensors. Just sort of there's my transmission, torque and temp. I need special codes for those two. They don't come standard on here. I do have the codes for those if anyone needs them. You can set trips. I know it goes on for a while. That's about it now. Okay. This is the main menu here. There's settings down there. You see fault codes. It can read fault codes. It can reset fault codes as well. Very helpful. Click on real time and that pops up. I'll start the car and we'll see if it stays displaying all the... Takes a couple of seconds. There you go, connect it. Get the volume down because okay, so with the engine running you can see my it's in vacuum. If I rev it a bit, no, there's no load, so but it does show boost. The vacuum coolant's at 41, transmission torque's 43, pan temperature's 35. DPF is at 94%, so it's going to do a burn when it gets to 100. The GTs 95, 61, 43. There you have it. That's pretty much it. I pretty much drive by this. Engine temp, transmission temps. When the torque converter is locked up, because I've got the lock-up torque converter kit, the pan temp and the torque converter temps are exactly the same. There's no slip, so there's no difference in temperature. It just circulates all around through the cooler and back into the pan. No heat. When it's not locked up, the transmission torque converter temperature can be a lot more than the pan temp. It's a bit of a vicious circle. It just keeps going around and getting hotter and hotter the more you push it. So it holds that for a little while once you turn the engine off. Normally that would actually go into sleep mode because I've got it hooked up to the ignition, but for this demonstration I've got it plugged into a USB port off the second batteries. And what would happen is normally it would just go turn itself off when you turn the car off and go sleeping. And there you have it. So down under the steering column we have the OBT2. It just plugs in there. I'll just take it out and show you over here. That's the one I have. There's heaps of these on eBay. Very cheap. I had a very cheap one, a bit smaller than this to start with, but it didn't work, so I had to get the slightly more expensive one. It was like $20. There she goes, plugged back in. I have noticed if you leave this plugged in and you don't run the car, it can start to drain the battery a bit after a while. Alright for a few days, but after that it starts to, if you leave it for a few weeks, your battery might be flat when you come back. There's the little red lights on there, so it is drawing some power. So we're going to do a test run, go for a drive. Cold start, 34 degrees. Not that cold, but cold for engine temps.
Was it me? Is it me? Am I deluded? I'm the one who's always sorry, the conclusion. Even though I offer all of the solution.
Pushing up a little hill there now, you can see torque converter temp's a lot hotter than the pan temp. It's slipping and working hard. Going uphill now, you can see the torque converter temps come up a little bit. The harder you accelerate, the more it comes up. Just sitting at the traffic lights in drive, see the torque converter temps going up. Up 2 degrees in half a minute. Outside temperatures are 27 degrees at the moment. So I'm backed off going downhill now. The torque converter temp's staying up there a bit. Going up a hill now. Oh yeah. As soon as you accelerate it, must pump it round a bit more maybe. Up and down. I've got a transmission cooler as well, so if you haven't got a transmission cooler, yours will be a lot hotter than this. What do I call a lot? At least 10 degrees. Maybe 15 to 20. Gets hotter and takes a lot longer to cool down if you haven't got a cooler. Something a lot of people don't realise, using your gears to hold you back going down hills, that heats up the transmission as well. So I'm at a dead standstill while I'm just idling along now. Doing about 10 kilometres an hour in traffic. Engine revs are about 900, so it's not really pulling much air through. About 6 seconds after you stop, the torque converter temp starts to rise. You can see the pan temperature is starting to come up slowly as well. Okay, at a dead stop. There you go. Temp's going up on the torque converter. And consequently, the pan temp's going up, which means it's going from 70, cooled down a bit, then drop back into the pan at 61, then go around and heat it up to 61. It'll go, this keeps going in this vicious circle. While it's working, anyway. When it's not working hard, it doesn't heat up. Or if you can get the torque converter to lock up when you're on the highway, it won't heat up either. Or if you put it in neutral, it doesn't heat up. So without the trans cooler, it's probably going to be 85 to 90 now. Stopped in traffic again. See, it's going up. Temperature just keeps rising. It will level off at some point. without the transmission cooler. Yeah, 93, 95 degrees probably, trans torque. So that's the oil temperature going through the torque converter. Up around 95 probably. And then it's cooled and drops back into the pan, back to 68. DPF just reached 100. It's just got its not audible alarm just set for the flashing. There you'll see the exhaust gas EGTs there go up. 500 degrees already. I'm just idling along. Select the gear, less slip then, but for the purposes of this I'll leave it in drive. So it's holding me back at the moment. Not a lot. Have a transmission cooler, it does. goes to 6, sometimes 4. Very rarely it gets to 0. So yeah, she goes today, we're down to 6. Still 600 degrees, it might go down a bit more if we're lucky. Has gone off to say we're not doing any more regenerating, and Temp's dropping there. Oh no, I've got to 4. Let's see if we can make a lighter out of me and go even less. On the DPF. Never force a burn when it's low percentage, because when you push that burn button, it bumps this up and says 100% and it goes through the full cycle. So I don't think doing a full cycle burn when it's not clogged up would be very good for it. It's just a cheap, might edit that bit out.